What is persona? Do we have to wear masks to be able to fit in with our family, communities, business partners, lovers? Well, I don't know. I mean, when I wear a mask around my dog, he gets nervous. I'm the same way about people. I can see when they're wearing masks, you know? I see their masks because of their energy that they spew out, their false virtue. So I had a theory that there's no such thing as persona. There's just lack of Dionysian consciousness. So like it's on a spectrum, right? You could turn that around too and say there's no such thing as Dionysian consciousness and just lack of persona, right? Half full, half empty. So persona and the mask that we wear, I would say most people, probably 66% of people or more, wear their masks every time they see another human, regardless. Because they've never been told to be comfortable in their own skin. So, what is Dionysian consciousness? Well, Nietzsche, who is the one of the biggest inspirations to Carl Jung and Jordan Peterson, who are some of the most amazing psychological minds of the last 200 years, let's say. Nietzsche believed that the highest consciousness to be obtained would be the understanding of perfect Dionysian consciousness. And people are like, when you look at the story of Dionysus, it sounds a little more like hedonistic and even like devilish. Like he's a crazy partier that they just get together and drink and party and orgies and like all this hedonism. And then on the other side of things, there he's just this crazy person that just tears people from limb to limb and then puts them back together again. And you know, like there's been Dionysian cults where like people go off and join these cults and I say cult in a way like it's culture. It is a culture that they're putting out there, and so like I need to realize is that word is from culture, but the idea though is that you know Shambhala would be a Dionysian like pathological cult because it not just pathological. There's good going on there too. Don't get me wrong. However, what are the messages that are brought from that? What do people get from there? Like, what kind of things are really going on, right? Well, there's a lot of dark stuff going on, right? And that's the predators that come around these very open people. Because Dionysus is an idea that you take an entheogen and you dance and sing and do art and music and go crazy for like the Dionysian festival, 3 days of it, right? And you literally reincarnate into a different being because you've taken so many like tryptamines or alcohol or whatever so that you're different. But the original Dionysian festival is like you know, if we look at the Inquisitions, like they went around like uh, taking out the mushroom cults, right? Well, those are Dionysian cults, and what that was is they were experimenting, especially with like mushrooms and expanding their consciousness, and doing so that they realized is they needed to go out into the world and they needed to become healthy Gnostics. So they would go in and they would infiltrate into the cities and start telling people about all the pathologies and tear people from limb to limb, and then put them back together again. It's not physically, psychologically, and that's what like an exorcism is, or ego death, or one of those things. So like if the person that say is the that comes into the to this group, they take enough mushrooms that they pretty much are reborn into a higher consciousness, which is their beginning consciousness, and I think that's the consciousness we come into the world as. So the, there's a guy in Australia, and he's like, "I'm Jesus," he says, and he has all these followers, and he like is the perfect persona of Jesus, like the picture perfect, like everything's fine, turn the other cheek, like the maternal, like Buddha Jesus, right? The virtue signaling Jesus. However, you know, I've seen men at bars bullying a woman, and another man being like, "Oh, I don't want to get involved," right? And he's like, thinks that's virtuous, right? No, you just don't have any tools in your tool belt to be able to deal with that situation. So you tell yourself a virtuous story. So Dionysus, to me, would be would be somebody that goes in. He's the hero that just messes everything up, causes chaos because it needs to happen, and then creates order, right? That means they have both polarities. They have the ability to destroy and create, right? And the only reason why they're destroying the one thing is they know they can create something that's stronger with the help of their community. So there's a saying, loose lips sink ships. Well, Dionysian consciousness is transparency. Everything should be transparent. Assertion. So then we can keep these pathological energies at bay, because they're in all of our hearts. And if we allow people to do it, because they have no connection to God, their morality slips downhill, and then we have a sick society. So Dionysian consciousness is the heroic ability to take on somebody that has a pathological ideology, so you kill that part of them, right? You're possessed by an ideology, so you kill that ideology. That's killing possession. That's an exorcism, right? So that is what Dionysus would be. And Archangel Michael is known as an exorcist also. So it's these kind of paternal hero archetypes. They're not slicing people limb to limb. They have the sword. It's sharp. They know how to wield it. However, because of that, they never have to yield it. Not because the sword's sharp, because the mind is sharp. So, loose lips sink ships. Well, here's a ship that I think needs to be sunk, and I'd love to hear your guys' opinion, right? If we stick to that ideology, that loose link, if we think it's not even an ideology, it's telling you what it is. You're only ideological if you don't use your lips to sink certain ships, right? I think certain ships need to be protected, so you keep your lips shut, right? But certain ships need to be destroyed. And the only reason why we have to protect certain ship is because we have corruption that will attack this benevolent ship, okay? This is what the moral way of using that ideology. But if you look at this other ship, right, and we use the same ideology as this malevolent for this malevolent one, then there's nobody fighting against the evil. So, here's a ship that needs to be sunk. Since 1812, Britain has owned our river, and I believe probably all our land. I don't know all the insides, but the thing that bothers me the most is that the reason I have to charge more money for my products, the main reason is the amount that I pay for electricity. And our electricity is coming from, it's supposed to be, they say, like no carbon footprint, because it's just, they can't be no carbon footprint because they drive trucks around to do that, but they're low carbon footprint, right? So if it is such a low carbon footprint, then tell me why I'm paying so fucking much money, okay? And not only that, guess who owns that river? And guess we're paying for our water that they flooded a chunk of land the size of Texas. They're like, here's Columbia Basin Trust. You guys can build businesses, and then you can buy food from us. We're the centralized food system. Oh, thank you for your sweet whatever, 100 million over the last, I don't even know how many years, when we could have grown billions of dollars in food and had healthy communities. Thank you. That's really sweet for your Columbia Basin Trust. That's philanthropy. Okay, be careful with people that use that word philanthropy. Okay, it's a tax write-off or a virtue signal to make sure that they are not known as the ship that needs to be sunk. Well, do we want our river back? Yes, we want our river back. Okay, we want affordable energy. When we have affordable energy, people become free. Or freer. There's no complete free. You know? At least not that I know of. So, I'm using my lips to sink a dirty ship. I hope that message goes around. I'm also sinking many ships on this channel, and I believe that if we're transparent, and if these big corporations are potentially messing with us in our small community, right? So if some people don't believe what I'm saying, then fine, let's do an investigation then together. How does that sound? Okay, that's how it works. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. However, I have allegations that need to be investigated. And if they are virtuous, as they signal, then they will sleep in a comfy bed instead of a bed of nails. So it's easy to call somebody like me a rat, right? Well, rats are actually very smart creatures. They can survive. And, you know, I don't believe the rats bring the black flag. I believe it escaped from a lab. Just like something else we know of. It's just a theory. I got lots of theories. You know? It's fun. Join in. So pick Dionysian consciousness rather than persona. It's like so uncomfortable wearing that mask all the time, you know? Being a salesman, you gotta this is just an example, right? You're a salesman, you're smiling all day, running around, right? And then you go home and you smash alcohol to deal with all the stress, right? Being Dionysian is not the easy road, but it is rewarding. And I believe the long run is where you get your karma. Much love.